Hey, I'm Andrea, and you're watching Kitchen Conversations, and we're recording this live from the Secret Kitchen. And my special guest today is Chef James Rosicano. And I am so happy to have you because I've been wanting to do this for a while.
It's a pleasure being here.
It's always fun to see you. And first, before we start talking all about you, you're wearing your colors today, Chefs for Seniors.
That's it.
So just tell the camera a little, what is Chefs for Seniors?
Chefs for Seniors, I'll start here. Our motto is, we don't deliver meals, we deliver a chef.
That's right.
We're an in-home meal prep service for independent living seniors. A typical standard service, we'll visit our client every other week. A chef shows up at their home with a toolbox full of utensils, a cooler full of pots and pans, and we'll even do the grocery shopping. Bag of groceries with any ingredients that we need to complete the meals they ordered. We'll take 4 meals that they ordered and turn them into 12 to 14 individually packaged meals.
Not bad.
Cooked, most importantly, cooked to their dietary restrictions because we want to keep them healthy. And right now, proud to say, Chefs for Seniors Central New Jersey franchise is the #1 franchise in the country.
Well, that is awesome. And you know what I'll do for everyone who's watching out there? I don't normally do this, but I'm going to do it for Chef James. I'm going to put the link to Chef for Seniors because if you're interested, this way you can reach out directly. Thank you for that. So, Chef James, you are from Brooklyn, duh, in case anyone didn't figure that out.
In case anybody didn't recognize my southern accent, this is a South Brooklyn
accent. Well, the southern part of Brooklyn, of course. So, where did this all come from for you, your love of cooking? Where did you learn? Let's go back to the beginning.
Well, let's start here. We're a traditional Italian family from Brooklyn, New York. Food is a very integral part of our family life. I mean, this time of the year, we're getting ready. We got Thanksgiving coming. We have the 7 fishes coming on Christmas Eve. We have it all coming. But very early on in life, as I was growing up, I had a grandmother who was a tremendous cook. My mother is a fabulous cook. And just food was a big part of our life. So I just grew up around food. And in my extended family, I had an uncle and cousin who had an Italian pork store, or what we call a Salamaria. So I was around food all the time, especially around the holidays. As I was a teenager, they would need extra help at the store, and I would go in there. I've been making mozzarella since I'm 5 years old.
But when did you get this is pretty interesting. Not only do I like watching it and eating it, but I want to get in the kitchen and cook.
Well, I had an opportunity several years ago. Friends of mine opened a very exclusive swim club, country club in Monmouth County. And prior to that, I used to do some side catering because of my knowledge through my cousin's business. And I would do some side catering. And my friends were opening this business, and they reached out to me to help them. So it originally started just running the kitchen during their operation in the summer. But they had a beautiful clubhouse, and it extended to starting to do parties. We started small, doing baby showers and bridal showers, and we grew it into doing weddings. So I did that for about 8 or 9 years, and then this opportunity arose with Chefs for Seniors, and I haven't looked back.
Well, it's pretty amazing to have a love of food, a love of cooking, everything about the kitchen, and then to have a job that brings that all together, because not everybody is that lucky.
No, I feel very fortunate for this opportunity.
You are.
But and I could just add that one big part of what we do, besides cooking, I'm a very outgoing person.
In case you couldn't tell.
If you couldn't tell. One of real important parts of what we do is many of the seniors that we visit, we're hired by their children.
Sure.
Their children may live out of state because their job took them out of state.
Yep.
And some of them are very lonely. They may be homebound, and they may just have an aide visits them a couple days a week. So when one of our chefs shows up, it becomes there's a whole social aspect associated with it. I've got clients I've been cooking for personally for some 3 years, and they're screaming at me because my daughter got married in September, and I haven't produced any pictures.
I thought maybe they didn't want
No, I haven't produced the pictures. I show up at Wendy's house, and she's yelling at me, where's the pictures of Elizabeth? So that relationship, we send the same chef to the client, so a relationship builds. And it's a most gratifying experience.
Well, food is a very social experience, and whether it's with your family, your extended family, your friends, that kind of a thing. What is your first memory of, like, when did you start actually cooking? Like when you were young, and I've interviewed a lot of chefs. I've been fortunate. And a common denominator is that there was a grandma.
Always.
A grandma who was a fabulous cook and welcomed, whether it was, her grandson or granddaughter, come in the kitchen, don't just watch me, but let's do it together.
Absolutely.
And I feel like, if that's what you had, you were so
Absolutely.
lucky.
Like I said, comes Thanksgiving time, the day before Thanksgiving, that Wednesday, everybody.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Who's mixing the breadcrumbs to stuff the artichokes? Who's doing the stuffing? And my grandmother would show me, hey, this is how you slice an onion. This is how you dice an onion. Take the garlic. I want the garlic. I want this garlic diced, this garlic sliced, whatever. And she was very, very informative in my early days. And I tell you, I love her, rest in peace. I reference her many times. I do a lot of cooking demos, and I'm always referencing her. But when she passed away, everybody ran to the bedroom for the rings. I ran to the kitchen.
There you go.
And I can tell you right now, I have a box.
You keep the rings, I want the knives.
I have a box of utensils and gadgets and stuff in my basement right now that are priceless. Some of them are from Italy.
Yeah.
Some of them are from Italy that the box is written in Italian. I have this gadget to make raviolis. All right, it looks like an egg carton. It has 12 holes.
Oh yes,
like an egg carton.
Yes,
it has ridges around it, around each square.
Yep.
And it has a plastic inverted, like half moons or half circles. You roll out a sheet of pasta on it, lightly invert it so it makes cups. Put your filling. Put another sheet of pasta on it. And with a rolling pin, and you have a dozen raviolis.
Very cool, very cool. I don't even know if they sell those things anymore.
I've seen them around, but not like this. They're plastic and stuff like that. The one I have is like cast iron. You can't even pick it up.
There you go. Well, that's
thing
how,
came over from Italy.
Yeah, well, that's how they made it back in the day. So, like, what would be from your grandma? Like, what would be a dish that she cooked that for you is still such an important memory that you've been?
She would make this dish. I forgot what they call it in Italian. It was peas and onions.
Peas and onions.
It was peas and onions, but wait. After the onions were so sweet, after it was just about done, she'd crack eggs on it and cover it. And the eggs were just, it's like sunny side up eggs.
In the bed of peas and onions.
On top of it. She would cover it. The eggs would cook. You take it off and you'd cut it. You cut it so you got an egg, almost like a pie, like a pizza.
Yeah, yeah.
You cut it in a triangle, take it out, put it on. Oh.
Wow. That I have to
remember
say
that. You could go to a loaf of bread, Duncan.
Yeah, I've never heard. I mean,
I've never seen it anywhere else.
I think back to my ex-in-laws, very heavy Italian. Everyone cooked like caterers. And, like you were saying, Thanksgiving, Christmas coming, the fish, the amount of food was scary. Scary. And I remember even my husband at the time saying to me, I'm thinking, we're having lasagna. Oh, all right, we're having lasagna. And he said, oh no, Andrea, pace yourself. This is just the first course. I didn't understand
I'm going to give you a funny
Yeah.
one. The first time Michelle ate with my family, I forget if it was Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve, all right? She sat down, and just as you said, she thought the meal was over. I go, no. She goes, is the food still coming? I go, yep. I said, what we do now is we eat the finokia. The fennel.
The fennel, yes.
Because that's a digestive.
Yes, yes.
You have the raw fennel on the table.
Yes.
Have a little fennel.
Oh my God.
Here comes the meat course. Here comes the turkey. Whatever's next. That was after the pasta. Actually, nowadays we stopped with the lasagna or the monogot, like on Thanksgiving.
Oh, you.
We stopped with it because it was just too much.
Yeah, it's really. I thought there was never too much, but
It just,
Yeah.
and for practical reasons, half a turkey would be left, or a whole turkey would
Right.
be left over.
Right.
Because we're doing artichokes, stuffed mushrooms, all kinds of potatoes, broccoli, and it's ridiculous the amount of food.
now do you still cook for yourself at home? Are you the cook in the house?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. I like that.
Absolutely. But I try to cook as least as possible.
Well, you're sort
Not
of
really. You know, it's just, yeah, if you're out cooking all day.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that. So what's a cuisine that you've not mastered that really interests you that you'd like to, give it a shot? Or is there even such a thing?
No, I've tried everything I could.
Okay.
I'm not a big Indian food guy. I've tried it. I'm not a big Indian food guy. But as far as like Asian, pad thai, sushi, I've done my own sushi.
Wow.
It's not hard. Listen, I'm a true firm believer. If you have the passion to do something,
Yeah.
there's nothing that's going to stop you from doing it. I could share with you, Andrea, I play piano and I play guitar.
Did we mention that Chef James was a Renaissance man? We talked a little bit about that before. I kind of knew that about you, but you are a Renaissance man.
But no, the point I'm trying to make is that when I was, 9 or 10 years old, I was at Aunt Margie's in Valley Stream. Because Uncle Nunzi, he was like the big shot of the family. Uncle Nunzio, my father's godfather. He owned a plastic factory. Everybody else was blue-collar workers. So they moved out of Brooklyn. They went to Valley Stream, Long Island. They were the big shots. Well, Aunt Margie had a piano, was taking piano lessons. I remember 9 or 10 years old, around the holidays, I was out there, and she sat me down at the piano, and I loved it. She told my parents, you better get this boy a piano.
Wow.
So that following Christmas, what's under the tree or next to the tree? A double-decker Hammond organ from A&S from downtown Brooklyn.
Whoa.
What came along with the double-decker organ was 3 months of free lessons. I used to get on a train with my mother and we'd go downtown Brooklyn and go take this lesson from this, 90-year-old organist.
Yeah.
I wanted to play Elton John. I didn't want to play Crunchy Flakes.
Right.
So I had a couple of months of lessons. Past that, I'm self-taught. I never took a guitar lesson. A friend of mine across the street, his brother had a guitar. I took it, I strung it. I bought a chord book and taught me how to play guitar. So I'm a true, firm believer. If you have passion, and especially nowadays, I did this with a book of chords. Now you go on the internet, you can get...
Right, now we have YouTube and everything you want to know, every recipe, everything.
How to change the washer on the dryer.
No, you're right about that.
It's much easier now.
That's very cool, though. I always felt like... I think cooking is a life skill, and it bothers me when I meet people who say, "Oh, I store my sweaters in my or my shoes in my oven or something like that." That really, I got to tell you, that makes me a little crazy. I don't get that. I really don't. But it's like anything; you need a passion for it.
Absolutely.
And obviously you have it. I have it too. Are you also a baker?
I don't like baking. Not that I don't like it. It never intrigued me.
Yeah, okay.
And plus, baking is very exact.
It's definitely more exact than...
It's very exact.
You can't just free-form it.
Right. Although even cooking, exact is the wrong term. It's still a science.
Yes.
There are scientific reactions putting together certain to make a roux. Equal parts fat and starch, whatever. It's still a science, but it's not as exact. You could correct as you're going along. Baking.
Yeah.
Although I do bake. There's a couple of things I do make. I make pinoli cookies.
Oh, okay. There
And
you
I make
go.
rainbow, 7-layer
Yep.
cookies.
Oh, you do? All
But
right.
they're a pain in the neck.
I
They're
would
a
th- yeah.
lot of work for a
That's what-
very small yield.
Yes, for a bite. That's one of the reasons I can't, too much work.
It's a lot of work for a small yield, put it that way.
That's for sure. So are you a recipe person?
No.
Okay, I like that.
What I will do,
It's just, it's a starting point.
if somebody says, you gotta try this, I found this recipe, I'll take that recipe and I'll make it exact.
The first time.
Probably won't eat it, but we'll make it.
Okay.
I'll make it exact. We'll eat it. I'll taste it, and I'll know just by tasting it, too much of this, too much of that, a little more of this. Let's take that out and put this in. And I can tell you, as I'm signing up potential clients for our business, I make it a point to express to them that, listen, this is a learning experience. We're going to go through a couple of services to really fine tune this and customize it to you. And I'll use this example. How many times has a friend of yours said, try this restaurant, it's unbelievable.
Sure.
You go to the restaurant, you walk out and go, what were they thinking? Everyone's palate is different.
Too much salt, not enough
Everyone's
this, not
palate is
enough that.
different.
Absolutely.
Everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first time, I guess I look at a recipe, it's just a guideline, and I kind of know, well, I'm going to swap this, I'm going to swap that.
Right,
I just
right.
always do that.
Right.
But you're right, there's an art and a science for cooking, of course, and I'm much more interested in the art than the science, but obviously you have to know if you put your burner on, incinerate, you're going to kill whatever you're
Right.
cooking. So you have to learn, how does the equipment work?
Absolutely.
There was a book, I can't think of her name now, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Of course, now her name escapes me. But she talked all about, those four concepts. How much salt you use, and the heat part was interesting because how heat is going to affect everything that you cook.
Absolutely.
I feel like there's so much to learn, but
There's
we're never going to learn it all.
No. Every day.
We're never going to
Every
learn
day.
it all.
And a big impetus as I was going through my culinary adventure was the advent of the Food Channel.
Oh,
The
God.
Food Channel, and I was
Yes.
an avid member of Gourmet Magazine, and I had stacks and stacks like this.
Gourmet magazine, yeah.
Gourmet, and what was the other one? Bon Appetit.
Bon appetit, yep.
Bon Appetit.
So
And those were always very high-end 5-star recipes. And when
they were.
What used to frustrate me is you'd read a recipe in there, but you couldn't get any of the ingredients.
Yes.
Now you can get anything.
Yes. Well,
you could go right online
yes.
and ding dong, Amazon's at your door with,
But you're right.
flying pig legs from
you could buy it on
Cambodia.
Amazon. But previously, you're right, you'd see some of these recipes with these very unusual ingredients, and I know I wasn't going to find that at the ShopRite.
Right.
But now you're right, you could buy anything.
And
it's
even the
amazing.
ShopRites now, just your regular common grocery store, definitely has a much wider variety of some of these so-called,
Yeah, well,
out of the norm spices and herbs and ingredients.
Well, the spice aisle alone now is huge. It didn't used to be that way. But I guess, as everyone's tastes are evolving. So I was also an addict on the Food Network. I watched it like
At the beginning.
Scary. But who did you love? Who inspired you on the Food Network?
Bobby Flay was
Bobby Flay.
tremendous, and I had the opportunity to meet him a couple of times. I think he's tremendous because he was a guy that just desire and passion.
Yeah, that's
he had
right.
some culinary training. He worked at a restaurant, had some culinary training in the French Institute, I think, in New York City. I don't think they call it that anymore. I
But
think
he
they changed
really,
the name. Yes.
he made it happen for
Right,
himself.
hands-on.
Yeah.
And Emerald I always liked.
Oh yeah, he was one of the first that used
I liked
to
Emerald.
Emerald Live.
Yeah, I liked Emerald
Bam.
because he was very entertaining.
He was, yes, I could see you and Emerald being together would be quite an interesting.
Well, we do a lot of these cooking demos out at many of our local senior centers. I was just in Long Branch last week. I made pasta vazul in Long Branch for 60 of our Long Branch seniors.
Yeah, that's wild.
And it's really fun because I try to be as entertaining as I can. And
I think it comes naturally to you, James.
You seem to get it back and forth with them. As a matter of fact, just Saturday when we were at Jumping Brook for the event, the Mama
right.
Office of Aging.
Yes.
All right. I'm soliciting some business, so I'm talking to this middle-aged Italian young lady, and I'm giving her the whole spiel about us. She says, I have to get my mother and father. She goes and grabs them. They're going to love you. She brings them back. It's an old Italian couple. Oh, I'm right in there. I'm throwing my Brooklyn slang Italian at them. I'm going at it. All right. Great. All right. Give them some information. They move on to the next table. All of a sudden, I get a tug. Because this girl told me, this is my mother and father. She says, I'm married to a Jewish fella. She says, I do the cooking. I'm married to a Jewish fella. So they move on to the next table. All of a sudden, this lady tugs on me. I recognize you. And she had a heavy Jewish accent. I recognize you. I go, you recognize me? No, I go to so many senior centers and stuff like.
Yeah,
right,
somebody's bound to recognize you.
So she goes, I was in Long Branch, and this is just a couple days before. I was in Long Branch. I had the pasta vazul. It was delicious. I said, I'm glad you enjoyed it. She goes, how do you know my daughter-in-law? I go, who's your daughter-in-law? This Conchetta that just walked past me, that I was talking to the Italian parents. That was a daughter. I said, that's your daughter-in-law? I go, Conchetta, get back here. That's your mother-in-law. How good my pasta vazul is. But that seems to be the things that happen. I don't know why they happen, but they happen quite frequently. I guess, I don't know.
You're definitely out and about doing, all of these things. So when, a food demo. Now, how do you decide what you're gonna do for this whole group of people?
Well, the reason why we did pasta
well,
seasonally.
Okay.
Right? It was we're in the fall time right now.
Soup time.
And what I do is I was able, and I showed them how I was going to make pasta vazul and make it in a healthy way. Substituting many ingredients like we just spoke about.
Okay.
You could get anything salt-free now.
Right.
You could get anything fat-free now. I even had fake Parmesan for them. I had some real stuff for anybody that wanted it.
I never that.
But it's like
now
a
you're
cheese.
Pushing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You got to cheat somewhere. But there's a cheese product. If you really want it and you really can't have it.
Okay, for that. All right, I get that.
I even showed them that it's a fat-free, low-sodium imitation cheese. Not real Parmesan Reggiano like we use.
Let's be serious. Food is still one of the measures in life. And I always think about Julia Child. She said everything in moderation.
Right.
So I like to think that way. Who wants to deprive yourself of like something wonderful?
Right.
Just have a little bit less. Not always easy to do. Especially with Thanksgiving coming.
Yeah.
So what's Thanksgiving like for you now? What are you going to be cooking?
Obviously we'll do a tremendous antipast. Nowadays it's a charcuterie platter.
Oh, excuse me. Yes.
It's an antipast.
I know.
Where I come from.
Yes.
But we'll have beets and cheeses and, the pickled, giardiniera, but I'll make that fresh. We won't get the jar of cento. I'll make fresh giardiniera. We'll make what we call Nana's roasted.
If Cento's listening, sorry.
No,
but I know you're.
We make it.
I like that. I like that when there's
for
something.
the holidays, listen, I'll open the cento one on a regular Sunday.
Yes, but for the holiday,
Thanksgiving, we'll go that extra step.
Okay.
We'll make some of what we call Nana's peppers.
They're
like an agrodolce roasted pepper. Now you can roast them on a stove, or you can buy a can of Cento's roasted peppers. Right? And all you do is saute some olive oil and garlic. Throw the peppers in. And then you want to go 2-to-1 ratio. Sugar to vinegar.
Sugar to vinegar. Okay.
And just cook them off slowly, medium heat, covered. You don't want to eat them that day. When you taste that, it's going to be very sweet. Let them sit overnight.
Okay, they got to marry a little.
Right.
Percolate. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Take them out the next day. Throw that on a chicken cutlet. Nice.
That sounds pretty good.
With a little fresh mutz.
Well, everything is improved with a little fresh mutz. Everything.
I was just at Stonebridge, 55 and over, in Monroe, for a cooking demo. Chris Brown emailed me.
Shout out to Chris Brown.
Hello,
Pure
Chris.
Healthcare. We love you. We do.
Chris emailed me. James, I don't know who to ask, but Stonebridge Women's Club is looking for a fresh mozzarella demo.
Oh, wow.
I emailed her back.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
lucky day.
Wow, that's
So we
very
went there.
cool.
We went there and made fresh mozzarella. I made a batch prior because she wanted to give out a little
Yeah,
ball
yeah,
to
of
everybody.
course, of course.
So I made a batch prior. I brought it there made, and then we went in there. Mozzarella's easy. You just got to be able to stick your hands in 180-degree water.
Really, that's all. I know.
But
That's,
she, as we were doing it, she says, "James, you think somebody could come up there and help you?" I go, "If they could stick their hands in this water," I says, "I think after I get it out, they can help me stretch it a little."
I feel like a chef like you probably has asbestos hands because, I couldn't do that. Yeah, but I know people do.
Well, you got to get in and out. Can't leave it in there too long.
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But that's very cool. You know what I'm going to ask you is maybe you can leave a recipe for us that we could put in our comments so our viewers can get a recipe directly from Chef James.
Yeah, we can work something out.
All right, that would be fun. That would be fun. We don't know what it'll be
But
yet.
I'm going to tell you right now, something my grandfather always said. I know you watch Jada on the Food Network, and you watch the recipe, and then she does it and plates it, and then you make it at home, and it just don't look the same.
No.
Or it's just something a little different. My grandfather always said, it's not the arrows, it's the Indian.
Oh, okay.
So I'll give you the recipe.
All right. Well, yeah. Look, a lot of people say, you give a recipe and, that doesn't look like what Andrea prepared. Or my sister-in-law, she used to say that to me. That doesn't look like, I tried it, but it didn't come out.
Because it's not the arrows, it's the Indian.
It's the Indian. I like that. I'm going to use that. Thank you. That's very good. All right. So listen, Chef James, it has been my pleasure to have you here.
Oh, it's my pleasure to
It was
come
fun.
here.
It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I really did. So maybe we'll get a recipe from Chef James. But Chef James from Chefs for Seniors, a pleasure.
Where we don't deliver meals, we deliver a chef.
And if you're really lucky, this is the chef that you would get. I don't know if everyone would be that lucky.
To tell you the truth, recently, I'm not even in the field that much because we're getting so busy.
That's good.
Andrea, when we're done with this interview, I have to leave and get to a potential client's home.
Oh boy, all right.
To fill out paperwork.
All right, well, no, that's a good problem to have. So listen, thank you so much for watching today. Please like and subscribe. You keep me inspired. And we'll see you soon on Secret Kitchens of New Jersey. Bye, everyone.